Olympia where it is pouring down. Rain.
We're living in Olympia.
We are live.
To Olympia.
We are live.
Capital. Yes.
We've got Misty. We've got Misty playing music already. She's amazing. She's beautiful. Wow, it is really stormy here, my friends. We've got diehards here. What strategy you want to grab the We Are Live? Yeah. Let's keep it under here, baby, for a while. Whoa, yeah, hold on. This is all right.
This will be an adventure.
Yeah, hold on, check it out. I'll get the. Oh, God.
All right, we're gonna try to call in the sunshine. Well, in the early 1900s, there was a smallpox situation. This song was written by a group of people that were really fed up with watching their children being poisoned. And this was in the early 1900s. So I found this song and I'm bringing it back. It's called Mothers and Hearts United.
Just this one.
Let's do the live stream with this one.
Okay.
It's better to keep that one consistent.
Is there a way to switch it around so I can see
Yes, you did it. I like it this way better. Okay, it's live now. Now it's live. 4 o'clock. Okay, good. Perfect. So as long as that is clicking for live. Okay, hi, welcome back. Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead and say welcome. Maybe back a little bit more. Okay, put me the wrong way.
Thank you, everyone.
No, wait.
Standing up for freedom of fear. I think I got one more here right before we get started. This is one of a new song that came out of 2020. It's called Stardust.
Water.
Some of us are We can't help but families are torn apart, shots given in the dark. We won't take it. If you love and protect them, do not reject them. And don't turn your heart away. It's the injured that show what you don't know. Some of us are just trying to tell you, please don't end up like we did. We did. Right in the day we said okay. I know we don't want the rest were how our children will pay. If you love and protect them, do not reject them. And don't turn your heart away. It's the injury that show what you don't know. Some of us are just trying. Daddy, please don't end up like we did. Some of us are faulty. All the rights not in history. Are you? Just like a little mouse, cause kids to get hurt and die. Vaccines too soon. If you love and protect them, do not inject them. And don't turn your heart away. It's the injured that show what you don't know. Some of us are hard to say. We can't do Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to Colton Washington and all the amazing advocacy groups that are showing up today.
All right, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Woo!
Yes, yes.
Join us.
Thank you all for coming, braving the weather. We'll get some more people showing up here in a moment, but we will keep with the timeline a bit, and we'll have a quick invocation. I would like for this group to recognize everyone who's been impacted by the pandemic, everyone who's been impacted by COVID-19, the COVID-19 vaccine, those people who have lost their jobs, discriminated against, children who have been unsusceptible children who have been kicked out of schools, and for anyone who's still dealing with the adversity of man-made restrictions. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now, we ask for God's grace on this gathering, for this legislature, that they would protect the people's rights and not so much the government's rights. Please ask for God's grace as we accept all the people affected in the lockdown, carry them in our hearts and our minds. And I'll turn the microphone over to Lisa. Lisa Templeton from Informed Choice Washington, one of our best advocates, more stalwart, everyday activists. And I really couldn't do anything else here in our Informed Choice Washington group without her. So please let Lisa take the mic as it's.
bless all of you for coming out today. And thank you, Bob, for your kind introduction. And let's hear it again for Misty Flowers, the beautiful music she just played for us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Misty. Well, who came here today because they care about medical freedom? Who came here today because they want our children to have bodily autonomy?
Yeah.
Who came here today because they know it's up to us to preserve this human right?
Yes.
And who's here today ready to stand up for this right?
Yes.
Well, thank you. My name is Lisa Templeton. I'm the secretary for Informed Choice Washington now, and it was right here at this Capitol that I first found Informed Choice Washington back in 2019, and that is when I was no longer alone. So I've been really grateful to have the opportunity to work with and for Informed Choice Washington. Today we have a neat agenda plan for you guys. We're going to hear from several of our top legislators at the informedchoicewa.org site. You can find where we have ranked our legislators according to their sponsorship and votes on parental rights and medical freedom bills. We're going to hear a courageous healthcare worker's story of her journey and the sacrifice she made. We're going to learn about Informed Choice Washington's recent accomplishments and have a really cool announcement for you. So first of all, please raise your hands if you're willing to volunteer for me for a cool little surprise, and you're from Legislative District 19, which is Jim Walsh's district. I need a volunteer. I need 2 from 19. How about you? Okay, I need who? Raise your hand if you're from LD 19. Okay, okay, Bob will do that. Okay, how about from Legislative District 25, the Puyallup area? Okay, how about from 31, Phil Fortunato's district? Well, you guys were not batting very well here today.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so Janelle, do you want to help with what?
I think this is.
Oh, okay. Do you want to come over here and talk to Katie in the red jacket? She has some little surprise for you. Okay, what I'd like to do now is introduce Representative Jim Walsh. He has pretty much become a household name, I think, in our state. He is from Legislative District 19, from Grays Harbor down to Longview and out to the ocean. He's been working very hard to protect our constitutional rights. Please give a warm welcome to Representative Jim Walsh.
Good to see you all here on a rainy day, but welcome to Washington. The right of petition and of the people peaceably to assemble for the common good shall never be abridged. So thank you for coming here and peaceably assembling for the common good. It's something we need to do. It's something that was kind of restricted and limited the last couple of years, but the Capitol is back open and people can gather here and protest or celebrate the bad and the good that we work inside the building behind us. So what you are doing here is so essential. People talk about democracy. This is democracy, and we need to protect it within the guidelines of our Republican form of government. But we must not ever give up or surrender our voice as the people of the state of Washington. Will you keep your voice loud? Oh, God bless you. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of things that affect not just personal privacy, not just informed consent, but the very nature of being a free citizen in a free state and country. This session, we're going to be dealing with bills that try to rejigger how housing is done, permitted, allowed in this state. We're going to deal with bills that try further to restrict how law enforcement can enforce laws in this state. And really, most importantly, and most troubling to me, we're going to deal with policy and bills that try to expand the government's emergency powers. And listen, a reasonable person can believe that the state needs some level of emergency response. That's not the dispute. The dispute is, does that reasonable level of emergency response get warped and twisted into something worse, into tyrannical, non-democratic, non-Republican policies forced on a free people and sometimes a trusting and gullible? We need to be the vanguard. We need to be the watchtower that protects citizens and their individual rights, and most importantly, their right to make informed consent decisions about their health care, about their bodies, and about their property and their homes and their families. That's what makes this state and country strong. And that's what's under attack with these bills that chip away at your personal freedoms. And there are buzzwords here you'll hear about. I was just talking with a couple of you a moment ago. The current buzzword they like is mass disabling event. If there is a mass disabling event, they will suspend civil liberties. They will give free money, they call it. They will do all kinds of things and works that are not constitutional and are not consistent with the spirit of a free people. That's what the battle is behind those columns up there this session. And that's the battle where we need your help and your voice to be strong and to be heard for the next 105 days. You know, eternal vigilance is the price we pay for liberty. And that vigilance is what we need during this legislative session. And I want you to do another thing people ask all the time. Well, are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you going to move to Texas? I encourage you not to be angry or frustrated. You know, the pendulum in government and public policy is constantly swinging. And good people, strong people, Americans and Washingtonians have fought for their individual rights and their personal freedoms since the founding of our country and our state. So this is not a new fight. This is not a new fight. It's a fight we will always be engaged in. So do it happily. Do it with a smile. Do it with patience, in the belief that I believe is warranted. That in the end, those of us who defend personal liberty, individual freedom, will prevail over the temporal, passive fashions of fascism.
Yeah.
And so be confident that in the end, good reigns. And I am confident of it, and I ask you to be too. I'll leave you today with another quote from the state constitution, that one about peaceable assembly. That's Article 1, Section 4. I'll leave you with my favorite, which is right at the start of the Washington State Constitution, Article 1, Section 1. And some of you know it well. All political power is inherent in the people. And governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. And those governments exist to protect and maintain individual rights. That's what our state constitution says right at the start, and it assumes consent of the governed, and that consent must be informed.
Right.
So let's rally for informed consent. Let's rally for the voice of the people, and let's rally for the informed consent and true support of the governed that legitimizes and enables and builds all that is good in your government. So don't give up the fight. Stay engaged. You can go to the website leg.wa.gov. That's where you can look up bills. If you know a bill number, you can plug it in and read that bill and see when the hearings are going to be and get involved. If you don't know the number, you can type in some keywords and you can find the legislation and see when it's going to have a hearing at the committee level and get online and testify or comment or show up here in person. The halls of Olympia are open. Take advantage of that. God bless you all. Great to see you.
Thank you so much, Representative Walsh. We really appreciate your work and coming out here and shivering to talk to us. Now, I have Bob Reynolds here with a little gift for Representative Walsh.
Thank you, Lisa. Representative Walsh, I represent close by anyway, the Legislative District 19. And I'll be dropping by your office and we'll be dropping by all 147 legislators' offices, one way or the other, maybe by your campus, to give them this package. This is a gift of truth. And it is a book just for the rest of the people here who might be volunteering as well. You can sign up to deliver to your legislators a book called Turtles All the Way Down, talking about vaccine myth and the realities thereof. It is written for the layperson. It's slightly technical, but written for the widest audience possible. It's given COVID-19 restrictions and the way the pandemic unraveled, we think that this book provides extra history and information as to the same science was used during developing the childhood vaccine schedule as was fast-tracked and rolled through for COVID. So we think this information is so important. Our children's lives depend on it as well. We got to get this right. Please give it a read. At least read the last chapter.
Will do. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Next, I would like to, we're going to mix things up, even though you don't know it. I would like to introduce Representative Cindy Jacobson. She's in LD 25. She has been working on bills that protect health freedom and rehiring state workers who were fired secondary to vaccine mandates. So,
Thank you for being out here on this whole day. I'm Representative Cindy Jacobson from the Puyallup area. I was proud to introduce House Bill 1029-1029. That means we would rehire qualified and experienced workers who were fired due to the vaccine mandate. And so quite a few reasons for this. One, we're having a shortage of workers. And two, it placed a lot of undue hardships on families. There was a family in my district that the wife was a nurse and the husband was a firefighter in Seattle, and they both lost their jobs during the vaccine mandate. So that was a rough time for them. So undue hardship on families. And we might be in for some legal legal liability. New York has told the state that they have to rehire their workers, so that's a problem. So good reasons for doing that. And good reasons, the bill does encourage municipalities and local governments and private sector to also do the same. I wouldn't dream of telling the private sector what to do, but the bill says, hey, we encourage you to go ahead and rehire those people. So, but the big issue why I would sponsor such a bill is a philosophical one, because I don't think that the government has any business incentivizing and even requiring a medical procedure. They just don't. That's not the function of government. Yeah. So that's the reason I sponsored that bill, and we need to consider it carefully, and we need to have this topic of discussion on the table, and that's also why I read the bill, because I don't think it's going to get a committee hearing. But we need to get this topic of conversation on the table and perhaps extend an olive branch to those workers who were unfairly fired. Thank you, and thanks for being out here in the field.
We have a little gift for you, Representative Jacobson. It's another Turtles All the Way Down book. A little later, Bob is going to explain to us the meaning behind Turtles All the Way Down title. Next, I'd like to introduce Senator Jeff Wilson. He is also in Representative Walsh's district of 19 from Grays Harbor down to Longview and over to the coast. And he's been in the legislature since 2021 session. He has worked to protect Washingtonians from unwanted COVID vaccine products and to keep so-called healthcare centers out of our schools. Please give a warm welcome to Senator Jeff Wilson.
Thank you, everybody. And, right off the bat, it's good to see all you here on this Listery opening day ceremonies. And really what makes me proud, too, is to share the 19th Legislative District with such amazing legislators, as you already heard from Representative Jim Walsh. It's the team of Southwest Washington that will make a difference. Like to point out with what an interesting concept, informed choice. I mean, if you really think about it, it's everything to us. And I'll give you some bullet points on this. As we already know, in the famous slogan, facts, not fear, let's try truth with science. Or science that's truthful other than political science. Let's go down now to common sense aligned with consent. This is to respect our constitutional rights. Rulemaking by citizens, which in fact is part of the reason I'm so proud of you being here, because it respects the legislative process. And really, and finally, the main issue is there's no such thing as mandates on freedom. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it. And I'm here to tell you, stay engaged in this fight. Nobody leaves Washington State. We're in this together. This is the beginning of a whole new session. And I can assure you that my colleagues and we have lots of legislative activities that will support just what you should stand for, and that is informed choice. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a gift for you, the Turtles All the Way Down book. Thank you so much. Have a great swearing in ceremony. Okay. Next we have, am I on? Can you hear me? Yes. We have Senator Phil Fortunato. He is from near my neck of the woods in Auburn, Legislative District 31. He also has been an outspoken advocate for our medical freedom and for parental rights. Please give a warm welcome to Senator Fortunato.
Thank you. So last session, the late Senator Erickson sponsored the bill 5144, which basically said, you can't force me to get vaccinated and you can't fire me. Okay? He's no longer with us. I pick up the mantle. The new bill is 5139. It says, not only can you not fire me, you can't discriminate me, but if you did fire me, I want my job back, and I want you to pay me for it. we hear, there's the other side is not going to go along with anything that mentions parental rights. But our children have rights. They have rights to their childhood. So I'm going to be sponsoring the Childhood Rights Act. And the Childhood Rights Act basically says you can't be teaching our young kids all this sexual stuff in school. I mean, they could barely graduate with reading, writing, and arithmetic, and you're over here trying to indoctrinate them with all this sexual nonsense. So they deserve a right to have their own childhood. They deserve a right not to be inundated with this stuff. And we want to stop this indoctrination of our children. So I hope you follow that along, and when we do it, we'll try to do a press conference on it. And, participate. Write those letters to the editor. When you show up here, I see, good to see you. Run for office. Have the courage to do that. Start off with those school boards. We need those school board seats to influence what they're teaching our children. So with that, I have to get back in there because in a half an hour I won't be a senator anymore unless they swear me in. So thank you very much. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Let's give another warm round of applause for our wonderful legislators. Thank you. And I understand we have another VIP in the audience, Senator Dozier. Let's give him a recognition and thanks for coming out here. And I understand you have some bills that you might want to hear a little bit about. You want to tell us a little about them? And first tell us what LD you're from.
Okay, hi. My name again is Senator Barry Dozier. I'm from the 16th Legislative District, which is now all Walla County and quite a big portion of Benton County. It takes in over in the Tri-Cities, Kennewick and West Richland, and goes all the way over to the Yakima County line. So it's a big district with a lot of ground. Again, I'm introducing this year. It'll be my third try at it to get a parental rights bill, hopefully through, and haven't been able to do that the last 2 years. But I'm hoping this year with in-person that we will be able to get enough people to come here and rally and get a hearing on it. I think it's extremely important that the people's voices are heard. Our kids obviously are with their teachers and in schools the majority of their young lives. And it's important for the parents to know exactly who is teaching your kids and what they are learning. So I look forward to it. I can't remember if it's 5024 or 5026, I believe it is, Senate bill. So please come out and support me on that. And thanks again. We need to have all our voices heard. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do a little chant now. Victoria and Tim are going to guide us.
Thanks all our legislators for speaking to us today. Let's send them a message. Let's make it loud. To tell public health, stop spreading fear. Tell public health,
Stop spreading fear.
tell public health,
Stop spreading fear.
tell public health,
Stop spreading fear.
tell public health,
Stop spreading fear.
tell public health.
Stop spreading fear.
Thank you guys. Let's make it loud today. We want them to hear us inside. Woo!
Okay, we have a really special guest who I greatly admire. This is Alicia Summerson. She's a registered nurse and she was a hospital employee. She's going to tell us a little bit about her journey, discovering things about the medical establishment that we've unfortunately come to realize, as well as the story of the personal sacrifice she made in asserting her right to her own bodily sovereignty. Alicia Summerson. Warm welcome.
I'm not used to this kind of event. I have been, my name is Alicia Summerson. I'm actually born and raised here in Washington State. I've been a registered nurse for 24 years and worked in the hospital for 27. So I've been at the bedside, taking care of people in Washington 26 years, long time. And so just quick, just why I'm here. I worked at the bedside full time. I went to school to get my master's degree in nursing, which I finished in the last 5 years. And the end of 2021, I was fired. And so, yeah, big blow. I'm not here, I don't have fancy words. I just have my story, which is that I give my life to people. I love people, just the human connection. And my right was taken away. I was fired for what they turned into Washington State for misconduct because I refused the COVID vaccine. Part of that, just a quick history of why. I mean, I've been in the healthcare industry, but back in 2005, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer. So along with all that, that kind of began my journey in just kind of understanding the chemicals, what we're exposed to, things we're putting into our body, what harm can be done with just little, even medications, honestly. Why so many things here in our state, in our country are okay here, but are not in other countries, like foreign places. They don't allow a lot of the medications and things that we do here. So that began my journey. So, not that I don't believe in medicine, I think it's there for a reason, but you can understand that when this whole thing started, when COVID started, I started, I worked through the whole thing. When the whole state, the whole country shut down, and I went to work. I didn't have the option. I was a nurse. That was my job. And so there was no question on my job was to take care of people sick, no matter what. And so March 2020, all the way through the end of 2021, I walked into the hospital, put my mask on, did 12 hours, took care of COVID. In the beginning, there's a lot of unknowns. Like, what's going to happen? What's happening? We've never seen anything like this. Everybody, they shut down the world, but we're going in taking care of actual people sick with COVID. I did that day after day, actually, along with a lot of really phenomenal people, just going in there and doing the work. And at the end of the day, I was fired. So in that whole experience, I mean, when they first initially said they were going to mandate the vaccine, or they wouldn't mandate it, that we would still have a job. I mean, we need people to take care of the people. And then they started kind of coming down the pipe that they were going to mandate it. My workplace turned toxic. I mean, it was just volatile, if I'm going to be honest. A lot of words like, that we've chosen this path and now we just have to deal with the consequence. When, as we all know, there was nothing in the beginning of this that told us that this was going to stop the pandemic. There's nothing in this vaccine. From the very beginning, it just talked about the fact that it was going to reduce our symptoms. And even the manufacturers said that. So for me, it was unbelievable that the science was there. And all of the people I work around are telling me different when even the old manufacturer said it was going to reduce symptoms. So lots of red flags, as you can imagine. Also 100% safe, no such thing. No such thing in science, healthcare, medical, anything. 100% safe, also a big red flag, as we know. So lots of things like that, lots of questions that weren't being answered, and so my thing was, I mean, not necessarily that I was against it, I just didn't have enough information. I wanted more information. Within 1 year, I went from we come up with a vaccine to fired, as if we had enough information regarding that. So anyway, so why I'm here. I lost my job. A lot of people I work with, phenomenal nurses, lost their jobs. And I don't know the impact that our legislators, that people know, that took people away from the bedside. And like hundreds and hundreds of people. And so our hospitals are not capable of taking care of the amount of people coming in because they also fired a ton of people. And so that's a huge issue to me. I'm about community. I have family that also need to be seen in the hospital, and it's a system that's breaking. it's not looking good. And so I want better for our communities, for our for the people in the hospital, for our patients, for all of that. So I'm kind of surprised that at this point, with all the data that we have, that we're still doing this. So that's why for me, I can't even believe this is still a fight. But it is. My daughter, who's a cancer survivor, has wanted to be a nurse, and she's 2 years on hold now. She can't get into a nursing program because she doesn't have the vaccine. So this is also affecting our children. So, you know, they're firing us. They're not allowing us to work without the vaccine. And then people that are coming up to go to college to become nurses, to be frontline workers, are being denied. And I think we have to do better than this. So I'm just here to ask our legislators to do the right thing and to stop the mandate. I think overall, it's only hurt our communities by taking away people from the bedside that love what they do, that love to take care of people, that were indeed not harming or dangerous. We actually were taking care of the people and fighting the war for the virus, and yeah, so that's it. Thank you. Stop the mandate.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for sharing that with us. She said this was the first time she's spoken publicly about it, so I'm really proud of her. Well, now we have a special treat for you. We have a Truth and Freedom hip hopper from Kalama by the name of Rhyme Wave. He performed at the 2022 Oregon Freedom Rally where Dale Bigtree spoke. And you can find Rhyme Wave on Spotify and Bandcamp. And also, he's going to have his debut album out this year, 2023.
And later this year, he'll be featured at the Greater Reset in Mexico. This man is known. Joy the show.
So he's a Truth and Freedom hip hopper. He's going to perform a couple of songs for us, and then stay tuned for what's next right after that. Thank you. Take it away, Rhyme Wave.
Thank you so much for letting me out. It's not really me to today's job. I'm gonna do a couple songs right now, and then I'll try to squeeze some more at the end. Check. Judge intentions, live a couple lifetimes of logic, also circular. And since we haven't seen the curvature, Virgo presents a nice alternative to surface term. The serpent's curse was just as short. The buzzard set up pecking order, getting more removed. Mythology and symbolism quartered in the room. While we shuffle these cards on the surface of the bone. This reason wasn't great enough to collect the paper cuts, fading into grayscale as color blindness fades up. Maybe it's a taste of what's to come inside the slave eruption. Safely arranged within the cadence of the great conjunction. Function after form, what's the category? Another tragedy. Now what the heck you have before magic turns dramatic and erratic, leaving cattle born this infinite potential, the stencil of a matador. While being planted full of radical and gave me more. Too much time inside these catacombs to make me sore. Basically, this wide out the radius and play the core. How to work with aliens. Down with 1984. Can't ignore the warning signs. Horrified the vacant door. Fill it up with glory minds. Once to the embraces. The bullet or survive. This is how the ladies want. Never feeling more alive. Down with 1984. We live and turn against each other in a sadistic manner, leaving everyone so flustered. Flowing bolts without a rudder, talking towards would help us catch up on a bullshit can't be mustered. Well, there's some bullshit in the interface, and segregated codes designed to put us in a distant place. So careful what you syndicate. This midget spinning indicates departure from ambitious taste. Using mischief spells, suffocating mystic realms. Running late, a minute, but we'll bow to breach the citadels. It's time to pivot, melt the structure of the system down. This crippling condition that we live in has been given out. I am you with different bodies, so confused participation. We can use the Fibonacci sequence of this mitigation. Fire proofs that nothing's permanent. Discrimination, tribalism, finds who identity for integration. Well, I've been ready for ascension and it's about to come. I've been putting my attention on just having fun. We'll start by betting on ourselves with every setting sun. Here's to better health. I love you 2023. Set it up for opportunity and wish the best of luck. Etching out communities and teams around a steady drum. Spreading out in unity. About to break the levee free. Setting one intention out. I love you 2023. When I say medical, y'all say freedom. Medical. Freedom. Medical. Freedom. When I say my body, y'all say my choice. My body. My choice. My body. Medical, medical, freedom, my body, my body, my body, my body. It's time to write between the lines. We're conditioned by the outer stimulus. We fix and melt into our minds. As soon as that we realize dividing Congress pastime, use the path that unifies the people without the landmine. Hopping over pessimistic obstacles for days. A prodigal arrangement of methodical disgrace. We properly displace until the moniker is placed. Erotic innovation and hedonic incubation. The tonic indication of demonic indecision. We're a product of a latent state that tricks the best magicians. Shot you take to obfuscate abomination mission. We operate with consciousness and proper intuition. The door is right before us. All we need to do is jump through. More separation is permanent. When we can undo updated ways of living, fall apart, instead we trust through the greatest state of giving all our hearts without a substitute. Going to claim it for the radical and make you more. Too much time inside these catacombs to make the story. Basically, wipe down the radius and play the core. I'm a aliens. That was 1984. And one of the warning signs glorify the fake board. Put it up with porcupine source so your brains more. Take a bullet, go survive. This is how the baby's born. Never feeling you are alive. Down with 1984. Well, I've been ready for ascension and it's about to come. Well, I've been putting my attention on just having fun. We start by betting on ourselves with every sprouting seed. Here's the better health. I love you 2023. Set it up with opportunity. We wish the best of luck. Etching out communities that dance around a steady drum. Spreading out in unity. About to set the levee free. I'm setting one intention now. I love you 2023. All right, this one's a little bit more intense. Life's been kind of intense. But you gotta write music about it. This song's called Transformation. Transformation. I'm weary of appearances to be fake. Here is the pyramids, a myriad of apes. Deliriously placed turn furious today. I'm standing up for life, no longer fear to disobey. See the what happens when you demonize the heretics and label half the neighborhood as terrorists. Don't forget your parasite, forget to live. You can come to virtue, I can call it signal arrogance. But pretty soon they'll be injecting us with telomeres. We'll be alright if we switch the man who weapon ears. If you're in a muzzle like you're building in a face of mirror, what was on our minds and our refusal and safe of fear, the word of defended, or the we commissioned it. Tell me where your lines lie, tell me where your limit is. Our self-defending cultures fighting all these social distances, but once you love the lockdown, don't own the businesses. Don't be called crazy, our controls opposition. Preaching safety like the science is religion. Consider that we're maybe bought and sold by the system that convinces us that the sky is falling down upon the chickens. My dream is full. I guess that I'm a mystic. I guess that there's no point for us to look at the statistics. I guess that there's no point in pretty trillions that's living with just listen to the extras. Dog, you need another stimulus. The chatter is hard to see clearly. It's almost like producing stuff by just asking Siri. I'm a shadow man myself, kind of like they did in theory. Based on what I've seen, asymptomatic transmission of theory. It's really they're afraid of you and me. Not prepared to write a eulogy. You don't rearrange the way you will be. Use the engagement, the space of the jubilee. All I'm trying to do is wave a little olive branch. I like to think that life is like a lava lamp. Empires rise and fall as the God is left. So cancel me around the 50 hourglass. The time has come to take a little power back. And no one has the right to tell you how to act. Other than a miracle on ice, you can count on that. The smoke cones are stuck inside a screen, propping up ourselves and tuning down society. What were all these vultures and their new desired genes? I'm only getting mad at culprits if they work behind the scenes. But ask yourself if this movement is natural. Redesigning basic needs is just something casual. Not everyone's designed to take a government sabbatical. UBI is bound with strings attached collateral. There's no animals grazing on our public lands. There's no rational invasion with guns attached. There's no actual amazement when the sun is dim. Running back to Babylon, I'm on a sunken ship. This is spiritual warfare with a modern twist. Ignorance over confidence. To smash the deficit. Put it on the kids. Don't we weaponize the sedentary populace. Now what the heck is a democracy when half of us are silenced in a debt-based economy? Just keep on manifesting idiocracy. Put it on the meaning of a robbery. Technocrats buying all the farmland and property, rigging every angle to extend their monopolies, fitting ways to strangle out the freedom and philosophy, cheating with an age-old allegiance to hypocrisy. So the prophecy is consciousness of prodigy. And I believe that these atrocities have got to leave. Harmonize hell with my philosophy inside my yourself, and don't expect divine comedy. I'm probably getting canceled without playing every slot machine. I am not a cancel. This is not a shopping spree. No more being passive with tyrannical anomalies. I am just an animal who's rabid when it's off the leash. So cancel me if it was all a solid, man. All I'm trying to do is wave a little olive branch. I like to think that life is like a lava lamp. Empires rise and fall as their commons laugh. So cancel me or I'm a flippy hourglass. The time has come to take a little power back. No one has the right to tell you how to act. Only the miracle and I you can count on that. There's a little moment for the speakers here. Make sure we get break up, but I'm glad we're rolling. We have time for one more? Yeah. Okay. So these songs are all on my new album that will be out on the 3rd, called Crop Circumstances. So I went with the rhythm, go with the flow, and you break free from the music. Now just get with the vision. Tap into the spirit, we don't need this division. Jelly in the belly of the beast. I'm healthy with that healthy middle fingers up, so we on the beach. Stuff's a little bit too much Orwellian for me. I won't wait till the innocent. Just be patient and give it a minute. Now really innovation, intricate assembly of new coalitions. Free from ism, I'ma be that ambition. Playing seats on the shit, I like to watch the leaves. You gotta be in a groove like trees got roots. Turn off the fake moves on that E-Rock cruise. I got bebop blues. I don't need shots for clues. I'ma beat around the bush and I'ma be obtuse. In a E-Rock groove with some E-Rock clues. Put on E-Rock shoes, they go meet the God suits. Teachers don't knock me on home to me, they're up the beats and home. Speeding up a leader, born and scenery, that's weird. So, eating up and eating up, the meeting won't be cheating up with reasoning and meaning. I'll be sleeping with the dream pro. Sitting with the dream to throw it out to your noses. Reading for the you lost the balance is on COVID. Reading up and seeing all this. My reasoning is founded in my better half, so bogus. Only with emotions and emotions of the hopeless. So I gotta kill with liquid vegetables and goldfish. Hoping for the honest that this whole thing is atrocious. The big signs of illusions that imagine the erosion of the opinion that's the way to wake up by self in the darkness when it's sunny in the summer. The money doesn't hurt. Inside the gutters, stop running from the gardens and stop agitating plumbers. Emanating energy, authenticating better means, meditating entities of replicating levity, disseminating lessons and investing in the remedies. Ready for we weaponize and flexing the obscenities. And now I'm ready to confess it. You can't see where I'm coming from, then you might not respect it. You can't see what I'm running from, then you are not elected. Folks is grasping awakening consciousness tomorrow resurrected. I'm blessed with the evidence. You can all expect it. The lesson has been heaven sent. The etiquette's effective. Go gentle with your measurements. Don't forget the deficit. Better forms of medicine for trees that we've been etching in. Convenience is just advantage. So I trust the patterns means that we don't fear not the sun to Saturn. Remember your friend's silence before your enemy's words. That's what MLK said, but we still haven't learned. Fear cities, verdicts aren't great. No assertions entertained. We're all just learning different versions of the same game. Capable of greatness, can we all support debate? Got a face full of yup, I'm love to see the light of day. I got a basement full of shadow with that helps me away. Always searching for the light, going stumble to the stage. Something's burning really bright. Every element engaged, it's okay to be a rebel. We all have a role to play. Gotta stay sane and transcend the mainframe. Awaken today. I made it alright. Gotta make ways to transform the end game. Awaken today. Await your whole life. So I live with the rhythm, go with the flow, we break free from the prison. Now just sit with the vision, tap in the spirit, we don't need this position. So I live with the rhythm, go with the flow, we break free from the prison. Now just sit with the vision, tap in the spirit, we don't need this division. We are all one, we don't need this division. We are all one, we don't need this division. Backs or no backs, we don't need this division. Backs or no backs, we don't need this division. Awaken today and have a great night. All right, I'll be back for a couple more. I feel the love. This is great. You can find my music online under Ryan Wave. One word. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan Wave. I want to go on Spotify and go over all those lyrics because there was a lot there. Thank you. Let's give him another round.
You guys, it's time to speak out. We're gonna make some more noise. Let's follow along, you guys. We, the people, will not be quiet. We, the people, will not be quiet. We, the people, will not be quiet. We, the people, will not be quiet.
Okay, do you want to hear an exciting little bit of news?
Yeah.
Well, thanks to Representative Walsh, we believe we are going to have a bill dropped that Informed Choice Washington drafted.
Awesome.
This session. We're calling it the Improvements to the Consumer Protection Act to Restore Public Trust in Public Health Act. This should be a bipartisan bill because all of us, no matter which party we usually vote for, wants to be able to trust the messages that come from our government and government agencies. So we're addressing two things in this bill. First of all, conflicts of interest, and second of all, advertising. So society needs assurance that agencies don't have conflict of interest with the industries whose products they promote. And the second thing is we want agencies to be held to the same laws and same standards that govern the pharmaceutical manufacturers and medical device companies. So as far as conflicts of interest go, when government agencies that set policy for the products are members of organizations that are heavily sponsored by the manufacturers, there's the appearance of impropriety, and who knows, maybe there's a little impropriety proper too. When government employees attend lavish conferences and receive speakers honoraria from drug manufacturers, that person is much more likely to use his position in a government agency, whether he intends to or not, to promote and support the products whose motive is profit, not people. And as far as advertising, Since COVID came on the scene, I think more people have come to recognize the discrepancies between the claims that Big Pharma is allowed to make and the claims made by public health. One example is that Big Pharma is not allowed to say safe and effective, but our agencies say it all the time. Another example is that industry is not allowed to advise pregnant women to take the COVID experimental vaccine, but our government agencies say it all the time. One more example is government stating that it's fine to take COVID shots concurrently with any other shots, but Big Pharma is not allowed to say that because they're prohibited by law from saying that. So why are our government agencies telling people that? These inconsistencies have eroded trust in government agencies. And government agencies seem to have more ability to reach more people using our tax dollars, mind you. And I think a lot of people, while they may be skeptical of claims made by a business, when the government says it, they think, oh yeah, this must be true. So when the federal government doesn't enforce FDA laws, we're all exposed to communications from our agencies that jeopardize consumer safety and undermine trust in public health. So the bill we are introducing will improve Washington's Consumer Protection Act and other laws that require Washington state agencies, not just businesses, adhere to the same advertising laws that apply to drug and medical device companies, and also to prevent agencies and their employees from holding membership in industry-sponsored organizations whose primary motive is profit, not health. So what do you think of the bill? Once we have a bill number, we will reach out to you to ask for your support, ask you to contact your legislator. Make sure you're on our mailing list. If you're not getting emails from Informed Choice Washington, we have a place where you can sign up today to make sure that's happening. Now I would like to introduce Bob Reynolds again.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about some bills. We've got additional bills you can support and oppose. And if it's ready, are we ready for a little bit of a soundbite? Is it ready?
It is obvious that we are in the midst of the most severe crisis the world has experienced since World War II. I am Ernst Stavro Blofeld. 75 years ago, countries and people came together to shape the post-war global order. Back in the 60s, I developed a weather-changing machine that was absolutely sophisticated. Increased human population
man.
to hundreds of millions of people around the world. Gentlemen, I have a plan. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century.
For 7 years, Hydra has been secretly feeding cracks.
Oh, this is an awesome. Awesome montage of evil geniuses.
The fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion.
Is this the real one? Is this the real one? They do have sundowns.
So, pardon the wind, but I think with that Bill Gates controlling the weather also. Thank you, Dr. Barrett. So that's a nice intro, a little bit of Ernst Stavro Blofeld, Dr. Ebel, Klaus Schwab. Intro to the bill 1045. I don't know if anybody's seen that promotion. We're trying to bring forward the premise on which that bill claims it is being brought forward. And I'll read to you. The legislators further find that climate change will spread disease faster than in the past, creating a new normal where interruption of the labor market, quarantines, and mass disabling events like these seen during the COVID-19 pandemic become more commonplace. Therefore, the legislature declares that all Washington households deserve basic financial security, and that in the goal of the state to ensure economic sustainability for all families. Thank you for the UBI reference, by the way. You snuck that in there. So I'm not a huge New World Order conspiracy analyst, but I was a little bit alarmed when the theory of universal basic income came around. That's socialism by my definitions. That's communism. That's really taking away personal self-determination and having the government come and be your rescue agent for everything. I don't think we're there. This is a free country. Let's keep operating on that premise. And let's call this bill out for what it is. This is HB 1045. There are some good things about it. I can't say that I'm not for some safety nets. But right now, the way the bill's written, I could probably qualify for a universal basic income under this HB 1045 if it goes through. That bill specifically is being heard in committee already this Wednesday. It may go through a couple committees because it's got its tentacles into every kind of part of our lives. That it's going to start in, I think, the education committee, perhaps. So more news on that. So again, hopefully you're attached to any of our emails for Informed Choice Washington. We have BillTrack 50, we call it, that's the brand name software we borrowed and rent. BillTrack 50, we track all the bills every year on that software and you plug it into our website so you can track along with us. You can get a one-click link into the bill details. You'll know which legislators are sponsoring the bills. If they're your legislators, excellent chance for you as a constituent to get in that front door and have a long conversation with them about your support for some bills or your opposition. So a couple other bills that we are tracking already on that site. On that site, we've got HB 1029. This is by Cindy Jacobson, who spoke earlier, bless her heart. Jenny Graham and Jim Walsh also sponsored this bill to rehire all workers. Jim mentioned that. That's HB 1029. Senate Bill 5009 is to opt in to comprehensive sex ed. Was anybody here working on the Ref 90 to undo the comprehensive sex ed law in the state last session or 2 sessions ago? Well, that got into law. But now they're trying to fix that and basically make it more of an opt-in for comprehensive sex ed. And then there's a Senate Bill 5019. The government can't use emergency orders from the governor and turn that into law. No, it's an emergency order. You can't make those permanent. I want to see the language on that strengthened up. That should be amended. One thing that I think you're probably aware, but the governor did issue a directive that his employees in the state agencies have a mandate now for COVID vaccines. You can't be employed without showing a vaccine card. You can have exemptions, but are they going to be strict? Are they? I mean, that's coercion at the very least. That's discrimination in the workplace, and it's shaming workers to just get employed. So that's SB 5019 or 14. It'll be on our website. 5000, and then Phil Fortunato's bill. He mentioned that 5139. This is one of those bills I just have always wanted to have for all the childhood vaccines myself. You just can't require it. Stop requiring it. I could go home. Let's have a bill. Let's have a bill that says no mandates. Period. No requirements. You can get it if you want it. Let them sell themselves if they're that good. So the 5139 by Phil Fortunato is OC19 requirements for schools, including secondary schools, which is really important right now. The colleges are requiring those shots at that level. And we can't, I don't feel like we have enough activist or advocacy push to tell the boards and regions what to do at the university level. If anybody has some ideas there, we'll be open to that. And again, we would oppose 1045, basically Klaus Schwab wrapped up in a little bow. He's kind of buried that phrase about mass disabling events and quarantines is buried in the middle of the front section of the bill. We need to call it out for what it is. Now, I'm using a little bit of fear on that, and we're trying to go fast, not fear, for our theme today, but we might use a little fear from that bill to get inspired to be advocates. We can't not reach out to our legislators on these things. Start the dialogue. We'll have more later about the Turtles books that we brought. That was a fundraiser we ran in our group. We've got enough Turtles All the Way Down books, vaccine myths, basically debunking the vaccine myths. And we have those to deliver to every legislator in Olympia. And whether we do that today, or we'll get it to them somehow, but we'll need your help, so you can sign up, and I'll talk in a little bit more detail about that Turtles initiative later. Okay, I'll turn the mic back over. Who's next?
Me.
Lisa!
Hi, back. Thanks, Mom. That's good. And just a reminder, you can go to informedchoicewa.org and find our bill watch list there. We're working really hard to find the most important bills for you to oppose or support. So use that tool. Did you know, who is familiar with Stand for Health Freedom, the organization nationwide? Thank you. Yes, they are the organization. Did you know that Informed Choice Washington is the Washington State affiliate of Stand for Health Freedom? Now, Informed Choice Washington does not endorse candidates, but Stand for Health Freedom does. How many of you used their voter's guide in the recent midterm elections to help inform your vote? Good. They vetted hundreds of candidates around the entire nation, and they endorsed 610 candidates in the midterms. 351 of those endorsed candidates won the election. Yeah, and over 1.5 million people utilize their voter guide. Wow. Their mission is to support medical freedom by helping people engage in the political process. They have a video series that they're preparing that will be useful for us to share with legislators or friends and family, little short, informative videos. To receive calls to action from Stand for Health Freedom, you can open up your phone, open up the text, and enter the number 52886, and you'll send the words SHF space WA to 52886. I don't see anybody getting the phone now. Is it because of the rain? Okay. I know we're shaky and cold. Well, come see me afterwards if you want that reminder or that info. Okay, next, Bob is going to highlight Informed Choice Washington's accomplishments recently and also give you a really cool surprise announcement. Where's Bob?
Thank you, Lisa. Great. And again, thanks for braving the weather. Yeah, just a bit. We've got 10, 20 more minutes of talking and then some more music. Right now, we have Informed Choice Washington. Core of people have continued through from the original founders of Informed Choice Washington. We started in 2015 advocating for health freedom here in Olympia. Not the earliest group in the state, and certainly not one in the nation, but it's been one of the longest standing, best organized groups. I found them here in 2019 when we were fighting against the legislature was trying to take away exemptions for childhood vaccine schedules. And we had 1,000 people out here. I was really shocked. My first time I went into the committee to speak, I brought my notes, I wore a tie, and I'm ready to speak to the committee.
And I'm the last person they let in the room. It was packed. There were hundreds and hundreds of people that day. And I sat next to a person and I said, who's working? How did all these people find this place? I hadn't had any clue about Olympia activism. And they said, well, there's this group called Informed Choice. Okay. And then, so I did find an email list. I finally got their Facebook group before it was truly shadow banned and censored. And find my way here to these steps in January 2019. Anybody heard of Children's Health Defense? Yeah. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was speaking that day. I'm looking around at 1,000 people. These are my people. And so Informed Choice Washington was able to coordinate that visit by RFK. And we also had Tony Bark and some other amazing speakers. And that was a year that we had 2 bills being filed. One to remove the measles exemption, one to remove all exemptions, all non-medical exemptions for all the child's schedule of vaccines. That would have really got us fired up, but we were able to fight that back. As I had a meeting with one of my legislators. I was in their office. They gave me 15 minutes. And I said, why are you even doing this? And she looked at me. This is Representative Monica Stonier, the 49th. Well, we had to do something. That's no reason to pass legislation just to make it look like you're busy. So that gave me a pretty good inspiration to stay with this effort, this activism. And we are now currently going into various other actions. We have rallies occasionally. We have so much help from other groups, many filmed by a couple of our people here at the Capitol, at the Fountain, reopen the state, stop the lockdowns. We knew so many people were woken up during the pandemic to know that government information, that public health, really, this public health narrative is, they have to lie to make their project work. So that's one thing we really stand against. So starting 2019, Informed Choice Washington is able to get big speakers in town. We were able to sponsor Judy Mikovits. She came to a Woodinville town hall. We do promote other groups when they get amazing things. There's a group called One Washington. They brought in Robert Malone and Brian Cole for listening sessions up in Kitsap County. And these are the things that we really do try to support. Really Informed Choice Washington with its mission. Scientific integrity in public policy, respecting natural immunity, and all the true science that can back that up. And so sticking with that, we don't have any doctors on our board. We're welcome to have that. But sticking with that truth in public policy, we are going to continue to fight bills. I'm trying to think of our other our website features. We do have a very comprehensive website. This could be a launch announcement of our new website format, but we do have it very cleaned up. We've got 7 years of childhood vaccine information. Now we have the COVID vaccine information, lockdowns, how to find your exemption providers. We do have a service that we provide off the website. You can start there. If you need an exemption for your child, we can provide doctor's risk benefit conversation for you. You don't have to go into your doctor to get that exemption form signed. We can help you with that off our website in a remote session. That's one of our better services. But we will continue to work for you and look for legislation, for laws, for changes to the Washington Administrative Code, the WAC. For instance, this year, Governor Inslee, as the pandemic restrictions are winding down and he saw the end of his wonderful emergency powers, he decided to say, well, I still want a mandate for vaccines in my employees. So he sent out that directive last spring. And it was only through the diligence of one of our volunteers here today. Where's Lisa? She looked through, scanned the Washington State Register, big ugly document. It puts out, hundreds of pages a day of all the official proceedings of our state government. She found the technique they were going to use to take Inslee's emergency mandate and make it permanent. And that's how we got to the point of having thousands and thousands of people commenting to the Office of Financial Management. Whoever heard of the Office of Financial Management? Maybe you weren't there, but
wish the government, our legislators today in this session would focus on protecting the people's rights and not the government's rights. So we'll stand with you as Informed Choice Washington. We'll work with your other groups, keep coordinating with us. We do have an initiative once a month now. We're starting to meet with all affiliated groups who carry this health freedom message and can align our missions with each other. And we'll make sure that we're at least operating in the same direction. Let me close up my little section here with the bigger announcement that having worked with all these groups, and we've always been an affiliate to the Robert F. Kennedy Organization Children's Health Defense. But today, and this year, we will be launching and helping launch the state chapter of Children's Health Defense. We'll have better access to their legal team and their legal advice. We will have better access to their science. They have an amazing network of doctors and scientists that are publishing all the time. Better access to their information. I hope it's a wake-up call too for the people in this building and the guy who sometimes lives in the mansion over there. That even business, this has to stop. This has to stop. So we are looking, on that note though, we are looking for more volunteers and people who can put in some regular time to help us launch that group. Maybe this could be the umbrella for all the health freedom groups in the state. And we'd like some people who can put in some time on a regular basis, not a full-time job, but sometime on a regular basis to get together and run an organization of volunteers and maybe even get some donations flowing so we can pay some people, which we'd like to do. Thank you again. We really, really appreciate that. It keeps us rolling. All right. I can probably wrap that up.
Okay, thank you. I must say, yes, thanks, Bob. And isn't that exciting? Washington chapter. I do have to say that to search the Washington State Register that comes out twice a month, I do have a tool that Bill Track 50 Bob referred to that Informed Choice Washington pays for a subscription. So I have certain search terms that are brought up for me, and then I filter through all those to see which ones we care about. Who is familiar with Physicians for Informed Consent? Nice. Well, did you know that Informed Choice Washington is a coalition member of Physicians for Informed Consent? They are an all-volunteer nonprofit that safeguards informed consent and vaccination since 2015. They've got a nationwide network. And their board and founders consist of dozens of physicians, attorneys, scientists, very impressive people, including Dr. Tatiana and Dr. Jonathan Wright, who are right here in Washington. They're an excellent resource for data on infectious diseases and vaccine. They've got printables at their website, which is physiciansforinformedconsent.org. You can also find them from the bottom of the About tab at informedchoicewatch.org. Next, I would like to bring Misty Flowers back, if I may. She has been doing some incredible and very innovative work in the Bellingham area. So let's hear from her. Let's give her a really warm welcome.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm Misty Flowers with Be Brave Washington. We're a group located up in Whatcom County, really close to the border, and we've been doing a lot to not only educate the public, but also really get more involved with our local legislators. There's a lot that we can do, and I really hope that when you leave here today that you get inspired to get more involved in all the different ways. Because not only do our state legislators need to know what's going on and what we want them to do for us, but our local legislators absolutely need to hear from us as well. So one of the things that we have done with our group is we started creating public record pretty early on of the COVID shutdown. There was about 10 of us in a living room, and now we have over 500 members in our community. We send out a weekly newsletter. We go to every single county council meeting. They have heard every single thing that we have found from every doctor regarding all the COVID restrictions, regarding the vaccinations, All of that. We've created public record by bringing that to them in 3-minute segments. They give you 3-minute public comment. Because of our pressure, we've been able to keep our county council public comments open when our city council shut it down because they were threatened by us creating public comments. Ironically, there's 3 lawyers that sit on the city council. So a couple of the things that I would really love to encourage you to do is to get involved in your local legislation. That's county council, city council. Get on those school boards. The health department, like our local health department has a public health advisory board. So we have a number of us that have signed up for that. In the past, they have always had open positions. They've never had more applicants than positions to fill. We had 3 of our B-Brave members sign up to apply for that, and suddenly they had an influx of applicants. But tomorrow they will be deciding, and one of the 3 of us that are involved in our group will be chosen, or they will have to leave an empty seat, which they have no reason to do. So it's pretty exciting. One of the other things that we've done is we've exposed to the public that not only are vaccines, there's no liability, but that our local health department is not tracking vaccine reactions or deaths. We've had meetings with the public health department. They've been unwilling to start tracking, so our group started a local tracking system. It's just for our county. I really encourage you to do the same thing. One of the benefits of tracking locally is that you can find these real people and you can get these real people to come into your local council offices. We've had people that have had vaccine injury come and speak to our county council. They can't say that they don't know, that they no longer are saying that vaccine reactions don't exist. So it's a huge feat. We're just getting started, but we're looking forward to not only being able to track the vaccine reactions that are happening, but then we can turn around and give that as public record to our county council, and our city council, and our health department. That creates that public record and accountability. It really helps the people locally gather together to really create more accountability. So I really encourage you to just get involved in whatever way you can. At the local level, you can really meet these people. We have allies now. We have 3 out of our 7 council members are allies to what we're doing. They let us know when things are coming up. It's pretty amazing. We're super, super grateful, but there's so much more work to do. So I really hope that you'll find ways of getting involved locally. Start with a couple people that you know in a living room. I'm telling you, it will build. And if you don't have a space, the space will come. We started very small, and along the way, we are totally, completely volunteer ran, and along the way, we've had people show up offering us spaces. We now actually run our group out of a church. A church showed up and said, we need to do more. So we run it out of the church now. We are totally bipartisan. We welcome everybody. We are very adamant that we are all protecting freedom. So whether you're vaccinated or not, we have you come and join us. We absolutely stand for everybody's rights inside. And informed consent is essential. So thank you all so much for being here. My children, thank you. My great-grandchildren that I've never met, thank you.
Yes, get involved where you can. Informed Choice Washington, as you can tell, has quite a few affiliations, and I wanted to let you know about our fiscal sponsor, and that is American Citizens for Health Choice. They're kind of an umbrella organization over several state-level organizations. And we have a C3, which is for the education arm of our network, and we have a C4, which does lobbying. Okay, Bob is going to talk to us now about the serious packages that were given to our legislators who spoke this morning. Take it away, Bob. Okay, I have one impromptu speaker, and that is Jane, Jean, and Sarah with the Chinese Democracy and Human Rights Organization. They have a few words for us.
Hello, Washingtonians! Why we are here? Aren't we fighting for freedom? My good friend, our alliance, Sarah Jones, is for communism. We want to have no communism in Washington. I was born in China, lived in China, and I experienced the Chinese Communist Party regime, how they control people using the media, fake media, to control and threaten the Chinese people. And now I see what's happening in our home. This is not, this should never happen. CCP is the root of the evil. I'm the president of the Chinese Democracy and Human Rights Alliance. I experienced 1989 Tiananmen massacre. I was a Chinese military personnel when I was 16 years old. We were told we must use the Chinese communism ideology to liberate entire humanity, which means take over the world. This is what the Chinese regime have been doing. After I graduated from the university, I worked at a Foreign Languages Express. There are more than 30 languages. Every day, brainwash the whole world, lie to everybody. When I was 16 years old, we had a goal, must take down the United States and the United Kingdom, the two old and the new capitalism leaders. And that time, 50 years ago, China is so poor, but they had their ambitious goals. How do we take down them? We're too poor, they are too rich, we are not high-tech oriented, but the United States is. So how do we take them down? We must not using traditional way of warfare, because we cannot make our machine guns and tanks better than them. Therefore, we must divide and conquer them. We must tease them, lie to them, and make themselves fight against each other. We must use bioweapon and chemical weapon. What happened right now? It is CCP, Communist Party regime, infiltration in this country. We must stop it. Take down CCP. Stop infiltration by the CCP. Now I have a friend, Mrs.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys that the CCP starts in your schools.
Yep.
Your communism starts in the school districts, and if you guys all want to do something to save your country, to start, get your kids out of school. Defund the public education system. Everybody, if you all put in, if we all stood together on one thing, the Democrats win because the evil sticks together. If we all stuck together on one thing, we could start winning. And if you pulled your kids out of school, you would pull their funding and they would crap their pants.
Yes.
You guys have to make a statement to them because they don't get it otherwise. They don't care. You gotta hit them where their money is. Their money's in the school. All this federal money, government money, is all money laundering for the criminals. Everyone in that building is a criminal. Until we all treat them like criminals, we're gonna lose. But if we stand together, if we all come together, we can win, and it can be nonviolent, and that's how it has to be. So get the word out. Everybody, get your kids out of school, stand together, come together as one for the good side, so we can beat the evil, and I know that we can. I promise you, we can do it, but we all have to come together, because communism's no joke, you guys, and it is here already. Socialism is communism, and we are a socialist country. You don't want to believe it, but it's true. So stand together. Thank you. Thank you. Here we go.
Thank you. We're on the same page. In fact, that refers right back to HB 1045, that bill with universal basic income built in, which is socialism, I should say. So on to one of our last topics here. We do have action you can get involved in. We have these Turtles All the Way Down books. And I know somebody mentioned that they already have them and delivered one directly to Cindy Jacobson herself. And so that's the idea. That's the idea. We've got these books for all of our legislators. This is kind of like that silver bullet to get through the veil of information they've been told by our government-run media. But we've got a lot of talking points for you right now. So I'll talk about the process real quick about how this should work. And we have a table over here where you can reserve. I want to make sure we're accounting for these books. But you need to have your name down to reserve. And the campus is open. We checked the rules. They just posted them last weekend. The campus is open by all regards, but some offices may be a little picky about as you enter. Another thing that happened in a couple of sessions ago was the fact that some offices have gone paperless. They want you to email only. Talk about putting up another veil in front of them so that you can't get access to your legislators. If that happens and you're part of this book delivery team, again, if you're from a legislative district and you'd like to participate, we'll sign up. We'll give you a bunch of information and talking points. And I'm kind of going through some of the aspects of the resistance you might face at the door. Really, they have to listen to you. You're the constituent, so we can go in. We've got a map. Let's see. I've got a list of all the legislators and offices. I've got a map in the back of this package as well. And so say you're from the 17th legislative district, one of those down in Clark County, and your senators probably are going to be in the building to the right behind the legislative building. And this is the legislative building. And there's the Share Board building and the O'Brien building on the other side of this. One's for representatives, one's for senators. Anybody in the new House building has been moved to the temporary building you see over here. Senators, for the most part, about half of them, mostly from the conservative side, because they don't get the fancy building. They get the building over there. It's a nice new temp building. So if you want to participate, really hope you can. We'll get teams. If there are multiple people from a certain LD, we'll get those people together and go together to find the three. You've got 2 representatives, 1 senator. And so, again, the Turtles book explains the history and science behind the modern vaccine program, starting with how past safety studies compare to a fable about a stack of turtles. That's your tie-in right there. Again, the short book summary, I can hand you all these papers as you go. You could find some resistance from some of the other side. Don't hand me the book. We can get them an electronic copy. If they don't want to see it because it's in a package, you can open it up for them right in front of them. Inside of that, you'll be also given a copy of the letter we've attached to this. So inside the envelope is a letter saying, please accept this book. This is why it's important. And on the back is an overview, an executive summary of the book. So they don't have to be daunted by the 500 pages of the Turtles book. They can read the executive summary to see where it's going. And if anything, again, with my talking points, reasons to read it, just read the last chapter. It's 20 pages. It summarizes everything. If they want to give...
Oh, we cut out its back.
If they have any resistance, just tell them to read the 20 pages. Actually, the introduction by Mary Holland is really good because it ties in COVID. This book was written in 2019, pre-pandemic, and all the same science has now been used for their program for COVID-19 vaccines. So again, the information, you might say, the information is essential to understand before considering vaccine-related policies and legislation. This book elucidates vaccine products, their capabilities, limitations, and risks, and will help lawmakers understand why more people are researching these details now. Can you imagine 3 years ago, I can, having so many people aware of what a placebo is in vaccine testing, having so many people aware of what a randomized controlled test is? So all those things are brought forward in this book. In lay people's terms, it's written pretty simply for the widest possible audience. And we think it's worthwhile to hand out. We spotted that as another way to educate our legislators. They need informed consent as well before they consider any legislation related to these products and the science thereof. So I think that's enough. If I can get,
Yeah, have some goodbye.
thank you.
Okay.
Get it back to Lisa.
Okay, thank you everybody for staying with us and braving the weather and coming out today. It's just been really nice being with you all. I'd like to thank members of Informed Choice Washington's board. We have Bernadette Pager, even though she's moved to Tennessee, she's still our president and she's still working hard for Washington every day. We have Yael Cantor, who is a chiropractor in Berrien. She wasn't able to be here today. We have Bob Reynolds, our wonderful vice president. You can see how much work he puts into this and love. And we want to thank Victoria, Tim, and Travis for all the preparation and execution today. Also, Victoria is playing a big part in launching the CHT Washington chapter. So again, we invite people to come up to our table and join as a team member. Also, you can sign up here for Informed Choice Washington's action alerts and updates. And please do come up and get the 3 books for your legislator. Thanks for all the wonderful volunteers who helped us today. We couldn't do this without you. And thanks all of you for coming out and for staying active. And Ryan Wave is going to see us off after one more chant.
All right, my friends, I just got a tip that Governor Inslee is right inside the door there, so we're going to end off real loud. Let's get loud so he can hear us. We, the people, will not be quiet.
We, the people, will not be quiet. We, the people, will not be quiet. We, the people, will not be quiet.
All right, you guys, be sure to talk to your legislators and let them know how you think. Tell them to stop spreading the fear.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Safe trip, and let's hear another awesome song from Ryan Wave as we depart. Thank you.
Bye-bye, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Let's dedicate this to the governor.
Has anybody ever felt like they might be on a blacklist somewhere? Is that something you guys ever felt? I just kind of accept that I'm probably on the blacklist. It's all right. We can have fun with it. All right. I'm on the list. Yeah, I'm on the list. I'm sitting here shadow man stuff you might have missed. I'm on the list. I know I'm on the list. I'm entertaining options of unplugging from the grid. Ramble on the babble on, steady like a metronome. Saddle up the stallion, renovate the cabin. Mass from the ambulance, trouble down the troll. Flashing through the averages, patching up the styrofoam. Archetype wires, the device, the black holes. Attempt to go away the doors and mind with every microphone. Artist light, artist side, inside the sidewalk. I'm sending in a storm cloud over no fly zones. I'll chill and clear a way to bring the rain to arid lands. Making friends with fear since she's already in the caravan. They just shed a tear, pouring out the other spirit actors. I do it to the spirit round. I do not want the mirror badge. I do not care to kick the can. I'm running in a different plan. This is a really different tack. I will not take the sister back. I won't resort to systematic cookie cutter fish black. More than you can crack the rubber kid, lighting and this black. Sensation every other on the floor with flabbergasted. I'd rather follow possibilities than this track. Then I'm on the bandit back. I might just sit back and rap. I'd rather follow synchronicity. I did not find the map. Get around the giant. Infiltrated by some slash with the level spiders in. Tripping every size we grab. I'm on the list. Syndicated shadow bands. Stuff you might have missed. I'm on the list. I know I'm on the list. And got so many lanes for such a little fish. I'm on the list. I know I'm on the list. We're trying to a certain type of thinking that's dismissed. I'm on the list. I know I'm on the list.
All right, looks like we're signing out here.
Goodbye, goodbye. What a day.
Thank you, Casey, with the right way.
Oh, what?
Thank you, Travis.
Oh,
Lots of credit to you, Travis.
you're welcome. Bye, you guys. Goodbye.
Very nice.